Welcome to the Kentucky Bourbon Traveler. Today on the Kentucky Bourbon Traveler, we'll be touring Bluegrass Distillers in Lexington, Kentucky. We'll be profiling Bluegrass Distillers High Rye 107 Proof Single Barrel Bourbon. And we'll be doing a recipe for New Orleans Cajun Bourbon Shrimp and Sausage Skewers.
Hi, I'm Kent. Thanks for joining us. There's a revolution going on in Kentucky bourbon. Much like coffee and beer changed in the past, going from a few well-known brands to designer lattes and coffee, and the old guard beer companies finding hundreds of specialty beers for their old brand. Bourbon offerings are getting better and better as small startups are working to make noticeably great bourbon. New brands making incredibly great products on a really small scale are beginning to compete more and more with the huge well-funded industry products. Larger brands are seeing the trend, and some are adding flavoring to their products or reducing the number of years that they age their product and dropping the years the whiskey's barrels are aged on their label as well. Tours of distilleries here in Kentucky are up too, according to some estimates as much as 300% over just a couple of years ago. There's so many new startups, I thought you might have fun seeing how these micro-craft distilleries are doing things. One of these great new distillers is Lexington, Kentucky's Bluegrass Distillers. They opened their doors in 2015 and joined the Kentucky Bourbon Craft Tour last year in 2017. Bluegrass Distillers are in Lexington, Kentucky, just down the street from the college, the University of Kentucky. We took a trip to see their distillery, and it's in the back of an old warehouse, about the size of a 3-car garage where they distill. The other side of the distillery backs up to a trendy row of University of Kentucky student bars in a converted turn-of-the-century commercial building. Bluegrass Distillers has been distilled for the past 5 years and began sales 2.5 years ago now. Bluegrass Distillers have no gleaming stainless steel tanks for the mash to ferment, and the bottling line could fit in most people's kitchens. Where the large distilleries have all the bells and whistles, this small distillery has people making adjustments the old-fashioned way. What they do seem to have is a great deal of heart and passion for what they're doing. We couldn't help but hear the 20-something distillers' concern while we were walking through the place over the necessity to keep the precise temperature. Their warehouse definitely is not climate controlled. Instead of, it's about 100 degrees. Instead of the huge dump trucks full of grain that go to the large distilleries, they get their grain by pallet locally from Woodford Feed. And you guessed it, Woodford County, Kentucky. The malted barley is from Jefferson County, Kentucky, local as well. I thought when we were there that for centuries many Kentuckians have been making bourbon the same way, with similar conditions, challenges, and pride. Bluegrass Distilleries sells out their limited inventory very quickly, and here's their distillery chalkboard showing the places their product is now available. Don't get too excited, 3 states now. Since many people will not find a bottle of the scarce bourbon in their local liquor store, check online. It's worth the $60 a bottle to taste the craftsmanship of this distillery's new offerings. When you taste it, you think to yourself, if it's this good as a young brand, imagine more and more time in the barrel. Today we're profiling Bluegrass Distillers High Rye Bourbon. It's 107 proof. This brand is aged for over 2 years. Bluegrass Distillers High Rye Bourbon 107 proof is a nice surprise. I poured this single barrel strength bourbon straight out of the barrel at the distillery. As far as ingredients, we reached out to Bluegrass. The high rye mash bill or grain ingredients are 75% yellow corn, 15% rye, and 10% malted barley, all locally grown. It's high in rye content, having 15% rye, but not 18% rye, as in rye whiskey. As you can see, it's a little thicker than it should be for 2 years. Nice collar. The barrels Bluegrass now uses are the smaller 25-gallon burned or charred number 4 American white oak barrels supplied by Independent Stave in Lebanon. Many of the smaller craft tour distilleries, like these barrels and the back of Limestone Distillery, are using these smaller 25-gallon barrels since it makes the whiskey taste more mature and aged faster. Well, next we have Christiana making up a shrimp and sausage skewer you're gonna love.
Hello, today we are back in the Kentucky Traveler kitchen and we're gonna make a New Orleans bourbon shrimp andouille sauce skewer recipe. But first we have to start out with a marinade. I will combine bourbon, brown sugar, ginger, soy sauce, Dijon mustard, minced garlic, olive oil, and I will stir them together. Bourbon, of course, really want to drink that, but we're making a marinade. That'd be later. Yum yum. It's gonna be fantastic. I will later on let you all know which the right measurements are for the marinade, but right now we're just gonna mix our ingredients together. As soon as you have this wonderful marinade mixed together, you put it, best way I found out to put it in a Ziploc bag, add your jumbo shrimp and let it marinate in the refrigerator for 1 hour. Now after the shrimp is marinating in the refrigerator, we're gonna prepare our Cajun spice mixture. I took onion powder, garlic powder, oregano, basil, thyme, ground pepper, cayenne pepper, paprika, and salt, and mixed it all together, and voila, like the French say, we have our Cajun spice, which is more than enough for future recipes. Now, since we've done our spice and our marinating, we turn the oven to 400 degrees to let it preheat. We take cut up vegetables, like I cut up peppers and onions, about 3-inch squares. Different colored peppers makes it look nicer. And we're gonna saute them in a pan so they get nice and soft. A little crisp still on it because you want to still have to make your skewer. Then we add andouille sausage and add that to the vegetables and keep sauteing. Probably around, I say 10 minutes, and the vegetables be nice and soft. Now after we prepared the vegetables and marinated our shrimp, we made our skewers up. Put some pineapple on. I didn't mention that before, but I like to add a little pineapple because it gets the juices out into the meat. Now the last thing, we're going to sprinkle Cajun spice on here. It's to your liking how much you want. It's pretty spicy, so if you're not really into spicy food, just dust it to get a little spice and flair into the skewers. And they're going in the oven on 400 degrees for 6 minutes total, but after 3 minutes you rotate them to the other side. Enjoy.
Bourbon Traveler.